Hello, everyone, and welcome to your favorite dumpster fire. That's right, it's Adobe Office Hours.
You know it's Friday when it already starts off like this, right, Andrew?
It's true. It's true. If you guys could only see the 20 seconds before our stream where it's just total chaos. All right, we have something to announce. We actually have a bunch of announcements that's really important. The first one, we need you to stay here for. So the first one is that Office Hours is moving. We are moving. For the first time.
I don't have any boxes. I'm so unprepared. What do I got to do? It's true.
For the first time in forever, we are moving to a new channel. That's right. We are moving to a fun new channel, and I want you to go right now and subscribe to that channel. It is Adobe Live here on YouTube. We are moving strictly to this Adobe Live channel. If you want all that awesome, fun content with Nick Longo, right here, Adobe Live. Go hit that subscribe button right here, and you'll be able to see us and all the content that it comes with. Right now, we are on Creative Cloud, but we are moving to Adobe Live. So go click right now. There will be a link over in the chat. There it is.
Be among the first. And I'd like to consider this. It's like Adobe Live is like, Adobe Live Plus.
Yes, exactly.
Right?
Yes, it's going to be much.
And it's free.
Yep.
It's still free.
It's free. So go subscribe right now. Number 2. Hi, welcome to Office Hours. If you don't want to listen to us talk, hit Control Right. Hit Control Right on the replay because we have a lot of announcements today. So I won't judge you. We'll start talking about InDesign, but we have a lot to talk about. So hit Control Right if you want to jump forward in the chapters to when we actually start talking about things. When we make the chapters, all the rest is just going to be titled Them Talking, okay? And then we'll jump past that. All right. So Nick, let's do some announcements, talk about some things that are coming up. First of all, what is the show for people who have never seen it before?
Yeah, if you are just joining us new, we are Office Hours, and we are here every Friday at 2:30 p.m. Pacific time, and we are just helping you up your creative game in any way, shape, or form we can. We're in the middle of our 300 zone, right? With kind of like ending it, actually.
I was going to say, we have a lot of announcements. Not only are we moving... Right. This is a season finale. This is a season finale episode. We know that we promised you guys that we were going all the way through the year with Creative Basics, but honestly, we're kind of bored of it, and we're ready for something new.
I think you got it. No, I think they got it.
We think
they figured it out.
Y'all are doing well.
This, guys.
Yeah. So this is the season finale of Creative Basics. We have done almost a full year of content, and Nick, where are we going next? What is the next season of Office Hours?
Oh, it's so logical that we're going back to school.
I was going to say, it's a reboot.
It is.
It's a reboot. We're going back to school.
Look at that. And we got our fresh new back to school clothing on. We're so ready for you guys. And we're going to have 3 jam-packed episodes of bringing you back to school. And it's the perfect time. But I think even if you're not in school, isn't it like the best thing to kind of refresh and it's like spring cleaning in a little bit of a way, you know?
Oh yeah, it's going to be fun. So
fall school ready.
Yep, we're going back to school. Next week is going to be the top tips for going back to school. We're going to kind of go back to our regular, more lecture kind of structure, not as hands-on in programs. We're going to give you some career advice. We're going to give you some school advice. We're going to give you some life advice. We're just here to help you level up and make the most of your return to the school year.
We're going to be your school life coaches.
Yes.
For 3 weeks.
Announcement. That was announcement number 2 or maybe 3. Nick, what's our next announcement that we need to make?
Oh, should we talk about maybe a particular boot camp coming up next week?
Oh, I think that would be pretty fun.
I skipped ahead a little bit.
What? Yeah, who's going to be doing that next week?
This guy has a packaging seminar and boot camp all next week, starting Tuesday. So join me for that. If you really want to get into packaging, we're going to these boot camps you guys came up with are so cool because they're like 30-minute shows and they're just jam-packed of great information. I'm sharing all the same notes I do with my class. I teach packaging as well. So I can't wait. This is going to be a blast.
Yep. And we do have a great question from our live chat. Is it okay if I don't go to school? Can I still tune in for back to school? Yes. This is back to school, back to work, back to anything that you do. We're going to be giving you good advice. For your coworkers, for your classmates. It's going to kind of try to apply to everybody. So if you're not a student, that's fine. Still tune in. You can still learn a lot and hopefully apply that to some of your soft skills in your creative careers. That's what we do. Yeah. So yes, Nick, doing a boot camp next week. We have one more announcement that we want to make I'm actually really excited about. Nick doesn't care about at all. But we... under the bus. We are doing our very first watch party. If you have been a part of our community, which you can join down here, discord.gg/ACC, we are doing our first watch party for, and this is not an ad. I know that I don't know, Adobe's partnering with Lord of the Rings, so all of the screens have the Lord of the Rings artwork, but we are doing a community watch party for the first episode of the new show, which is called Nick.
Rings of Power.
That's right. Before the show, I think that Nick said it was the Towers of the Hobbits.
For all the Amazon execs
Yep,
watching, I just wanted to make sure I got the name right.
So we will be doing a watch party, and you can find that watch party by joining the Discord and then going up here, scrolling all the way to the top, and you can see the events right here. If you click on events, right there, it is the watch party. And guess what? It begins immediately following this show. So if you're watching Adobe Office Hours live, at the end of the show, we'll all be going over and hanging out and having a fun time watching The Lord of the Rings, the show that it's new that's called the Power Rings.
Wow, I got it right and you didn't.
I forgot, and I kept looking around the screen and the name just wasn't
I was like
there.
Castles of the Power, Rings of the Sky.
All right, Nick, I think that's it for our announcements. Did I have anything else on the outline that I forgot?
Oh, Gareth's already watched the first 2 episodes there. Look at that.
Ooh.
Yeah, because I think it just debuted the other day.
Fun. Okay, I think that's it for announcements, right?
I'm gonna check my list because we had a bunch.
We had a bunch of announcements.
Yeah,
y'all.
I think we covered everything there.
All right, we got it. Also, just as a general, this is just, I'm super tired, and so I'm all full of feelings. You guys are great. I'm just happy. Nick and I were talking. We've been doing this over 2 years, and it's fun that we can come and tune in on Fridays and see, a bunch of you here hanging out in chat and just having a good time. So
I think we even promise a more crazy show when we go to that other Plus channel.
Yes. That's true. That it's the exclusive content. There's
nothing holding us back there.
There will
no
be
limits.
Exclusive Office Hours content coming to that channel. So just know that if you want it, it'll be there.
Wonderful.
All right, let's go ahead and start this episode. Today's going to be completely unhinged, y'all. Just preference. So let's go ahead and hop in for all those people that hit the control right and jumped forward 6 minutes. Oh, that's a long announcement time. So let's do that. Nick, do you want to do the intro? Give them the intro for the people who jumped. All right, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, that was a great story, Andrew. But let's get to our InDesign.
Let's do it. Let's hop into Adobe InDesign. So this is InDesign 301 Advanced InDesign, but we do want to do a disclaimer. If you are looking for I know InDesign very well and oh my gosh, I want to be wowed, this may not be the one for you. So this is a 301 Advanced InDesign for people that are kind of learning InDesign. So we're going to show you a lot of tips and tricks that you may not know. I learned things preparing for this, and InDesign is my favorite program. So if you're in the comments being like, this was too easy, then show us something harder. Let us know what you want to learn, but hopefully you'll learn something and it maybe change your workflow just a little bit. So the first thing that I want to show Nick is we're going to be kind of going back and forth. Nick is a little more novice in InDesign. I'm a bit more advanced, and we're going to try to build stuff in a couple different ways. So the first thing that I want to try to have you do, Nick, is we're going to have Nick build it the way that he thinks maybe as a beginner, and then I'll show you how to build it as an advanced user, right? We'll get into some advanced InDesign. So Nick, our first brief for today, we are going to be creating a catalog page.
Okay.
So we need a page that maybe has pictures of people on one side and then their names kind of next to it. So let's say that we have 20 some pictures. We have a bunch of pictures that we need to put in, and then we also need to put their names next to it. How would you go about doing a page like that here in InDesign?
I'm going to go right to my rectangle frame tool. I would probably choose that over the square because I think being a frame means I can probably drop in a few images.
All right.
So I'm going to drag, and just for the sake of it, I'm going to make it a square for now. And then based on my kind of compatibility with Illustrator, I'm going to assume I could do an option and drag.
Yep, exactly. Okay. So hold down option and it will make a copy when you drag it.
Yep. But all of a sudden I'm already realizing my spacing is really off, and I'm thinking maybe I can grab all 4. I'm already thinking this is probably not the right way to go at it.
Yep. So this is a way to go at that. So imagine that Nick spends a bunch more time laying out each of those boxes, doing the duplications, and kind of keeps doing that. We don't want to waste that time. So I'm going to come back over to my screen and show you how to do this a little bit faster. And here is an advanced InDesign tip. we have our rectangular frame tool, which was the correct tool. Good job, Nick. But I'm going to go ahead and just make some rulers real quick to make sure that everything's laid out. When you're working in
just
InDesign,
just rectangle tool first, correct?
no, I'm going to use the frame tool. You had the right one.
Perfect. Okay.
2 points.
You got it.
2 points to Gryffindor.
There we go.
So I'm going to hit Control R to turn on my rulers. And I'm just going to kind of eyeball where I want my columns to go. So let's say I want the names to be in this section over here. So I'll make a ruler right there. And I want all of this area to fill with those headshots. So what I can do is I can use this rectangular frame tool. And I want, instead of drawing one of them, I'm going to draw one big frame around the entire area that I want to cover. So I'm going to click and drag and cover this entire area, right? So that is going to make one big box right now. But here's a little trick. If I hit the up arrow, it is going to split it into 2 boxes. If I hit the right arrow, it's going to split it into 4 boxes. And so it's basically treating this as a grid. And as we hit up and down, it's going to continue to make variations of that. It's going to keep adding rows and columns. Right? And so you have to do it. Sorry, I can see Nick's screen and he's trying to do it. You have to keep clicking. So I have the click still held. So you have to be holding the click to do that and then hit up and down. Oh, you're releasing the click.
Yeah, let's see. So I'm going to go back to that frame tool.
Hopefully y'all are having these issues too and you can learn together. So yes,
we're dragging a big square.
Yep, click and drag and keep the finger held down on the click. Keep the click down and then now hit up and down on the keyboard.
There we go.
Magic. So we've done this super easy way to lay out a directory. We let go and boom, we have all of these placeholders here.
How do you get your vertical ones as well? Or your
right.
Right.
Yep, up and down, left and right. And so from here, we have all of these different pieces, but check this out. They're not just a grid, they're individual pieces. So you can make any kind of augmentations that you want with each of these individual pieces. Now, something else that I can do that's great is I can very quickly flow and put in faces. We've done this before, and I'm going to go to our live sessions, and you see that we have a bunch of faces in here already. So what we can do is we can click here on our placeholder, and I can just double click. Oops. Sorry, let's just click and drag that in to, I opened Photoshop. Hold on, everybody.
I got it.
It's a hot mess. Okay, Nick, we're coming to your screen. Nick, show them how to do it.
There we go.
All right, so you can simply...
I did the same thing in Open Photoshop. Let's get that back. There we go.
Welcome I got a few to Adobe Office Hours, y'all. Okay, so here we go. We can, very quickly just click and drag these in here, and it will place those into the different documents. Now, there is a different way to do this. We could do it with the data merge, but we're just not going to right now. All right, so something that we can do is, Nick, we obviously have some problems happening with our faces. They are just, mine is just a directory of noses. Yeah.
Yes.
And so what I can do...
Hey, that might be the case.
That's it. Welcome to the nose. What we can do is I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I can preview this. And I want to resize all these. So what I can do is just click and drag over all these boxes that have images in them. And then I'm going to go to View. I'm going to go to Display Performance. And for now, I'm going to show you these different levels. So if we turn on Fast Display, it's actually just going to show us each of the placeholders. And you can see here, this is why I wanted to show you. The placeholders that are empty show up as white. The placeholders that have stuff in them show up as gray, right? So we can also do this by right-clicking and then going to Display Performance. So I'm going to go to Typical Display. And when I zoom in, Nick, what do you see here that is a problem?
We're actually showing a much lower res. I'm assuming this is for speed and performance,
right?
Yes,
exactly. So lots of pixels. It is for speed and performance. But what I can do is I can actually select either all of these or one of these. So if I go to View and go to Display Performance and then turn on High Quality Display, it is going to, boom, look at that. The pixels have kind of gotten a lot better on these. But what I'm going to do is I am actually going to just do one of them. So let's turn on Display Performance. Let's do Fast Display. And maybe I just want to check this image right here. I can right click on that box and go to Display Performance and turn on High Quality Display, and it will display only that image. So this will help so much if you're working with like a million images and it's starting to bog down the file. Turn on the fast view and then just turn on the high quality on the ones that you need.
That's a great idea because I've seen people have that problem when they were working in something and they didn't realize how many high resolution images they had in there, and it was slowing things down.
Yes, I literally was
tremendously.
just on the phone with one of my printers, and he was asking me, he's like, I'm in InDesign, this file is too big, how do I fix this? And I was like, let me tell you how to work with it. So
I have a quick question regarding
hit
what we
me.
do the grid. When you've done the grid and you've had it here and you're starting to fill it and populate it, universally, can you go and change them in any way? Can I drag them all and like use the arrows again to manipulate, or is it a done deal?
It's a good question.
You know what I mean? 'Cause, like, I'm realizing my squares I made more wide than tall, and these images are much more portrait, right? I made them a little more landscape.
Yep, let me
Can
see
you-
if this is a thing. I might be making this up, but it might be a thing. Let's go to object transform. Is there a transform each? There's not. Okay. In Illustrator, I do know how to do that. Here, I don't know how to do that is the answer.
I figured it's only there for your setup because it's such a time saver to just do that drag and have all of the grid done particularly well.
Yep. So what we
Gotcha.
can do here is if there's all these weird noses, we can go ahead, select all these, right click and go to fitting. And there's a bunch of fitting options, but we are either going to do content aware fit or fill frame proportionally. Content aware is new. So we click on
Yes.
content aware, it's going to analyze the photo and then resize it for what suits that photo best. Boom. So it's resized to the faces of those people.
Was that a right click?
Yep, that was a right click. Yep. So if I go into my direct selection tool, you can
Yes.
see that it hasn't just filled equally on all of these. It's actually like customized where the face is going to go on all those.
Gotcha.
And that is like brand new.
That's fantastic.
Adobe Sensei. And someone's asking, can you change the width of the squares that we're working on? I actually don't know, but let's find out together. So if you're just tuning into Office Hours for the first time and you're used to the more like Masterclass Fridays, that's kind of this show, but this show is also very much us learning together and trying things together. So I'm going to click and drag this out and then hit up and down to make some, or up and right to make some grid. And then let's see how I can change the difference. I don't know what the hotkeys are, but I'm guessing maybe if I hold shift and up and down. Oh, okay.
Oh, I was
shift.
able to do it. And then I even changed mine to more of a portrait. But yeah, there you go. See, without the shift down,
Okay,
there you go.
Yep, click and drag. And I wonder, let's try control shift option. Let's try that. Someone's saying option up. Is that working? That's working. Look it, we did it. We
There
did
we
it.
go.
Okay, hold option or alt and it will change the distance in that gutter. We did. I'm guessing option shift right. Yep, option shift right is going to change it. And look at us learning together.
I love that, man. That worked out great.
Wherever we go. All right, so we did it. Good job, everyone. Let's go ahead and move on to some other stuff. All right.
Can you show my screen really fast?
Boy, can I, Nick. But that's all that I want to do, Nick.
Guys, I did a photo grid in InDesign. Next.
Nick is very excited. So again, Nick is pretty new to InDesign. And so if you're new and you're able to do some of this stuff, good on you. Celebrate the little wins. Yeah.
There we go.
All right. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just filling in my other faces real quick just to make sure that I have them all filled in. And then we'll keep going here. And I'm going to show you how to do some fun effects in InDesign. I know that a lot of people like effects may not be something you think about when you think about InDesign, but it very much is an awesome.
Ooh.
So here's a bunch of noses with a bunch of faces, but thankfully I can right click. I can go to fitting, content aware. It's going to think about it, and then it's going to fix all of those for me at the same time and make sure the faces are in frame. 3, 2, 1, and boom.
Amazing.
It's analyzing.
Wow.
We're in Adobe Sensei world to where it's really thinking about it.
I only have 5 pictures, so mine did it like in a half a second. That was perfect.
And I've got 20.
Love it.
Yeah. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to talk about is I'm going to talk about some effects. There we go. There are faces. So
Dude,
I'm going to talk
you
about.
just made a yearbook page. I love it.
Okay,
That's
y'all, if you want to know my design journey, I started design because of yearbook. I am a yearbook kid. That's why I
started because of newspaper. I got to lay out the newspaper at high school.
Journalism. All right.
There you go.
Man, what is this episode? Let's keep going. So what we're going to do next is I am going to add some effects here. So if you ever want to see what your kind of document looks like without all of the interface, you can hit a very magic key, and that magic key is W. Just hit W, and it will turn off everything that is an overlay and just show you what the document will look like. If you want even more of a preview, you can hit Tab. Tab will take away all of the extra kind of stuff around the interface. If you want an even more kind of clean look, you can go to View, and I believe you can go to presentation mode. Where are we? Andrew, Overprint Preview? That's not the right answer.
Is it in View?
I think it is. And it is Presentation, Shift W. I thought it was Shift W.
There
so you
we
can go
go
to Shift W. So Shift W will take away everything and just show you that page. I didn't want a hotkey before you showed you where it was.
Oh, nice.
Shift W. So W takes away all of the overlays. Shift W goes to full presentation mode, and Tab takes away all of your different panels.
Let's have some fun with effects.
Easy. So let's have some fun with effects. I want to put some fun drop shadow on this just because I think it's great. So what's going to happen is, let's say that I'm working on this document as I go, and I'm just going to kind of click and grab a couple of these. And let's say that I want to add an effect. So super easy. I can come up here, I can go to Window, and I can open up Properties right there. And in the properties, you can do all kinds of stuff. We can add strokes, we can add fills, we can change the opacity, and it will apply it to everything that is suggested. Selected. I tried to read the chat and talk at the same time. So we're going to go to FX right here. These are our effects. And I'm going to add a drop shadow. So this drop shadow, we're going to choose kind of a direction. And let's go to the bottom right. We're going full 90s yearbook, y'all. So we're going to do a drop shadow to the bottom right. It feels like that's a lot for the drop shadow. So I'm actually going to bring it down here. And it looks like I actually have an issue here. I am currently in PICAS. If you have never been in PICAS before, you don't know the struggle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and cancel that, and I'm going to hit Control or Command K. And what that does is it's going to bring up my preferences and my options. And so I can go in here and go into units and increments, and you see that it is set in PICAS. I'm going to set this to inches on both of those. I'm going to hit OK. And now when I go back and change those effects, cross your fingers, y'all. I don't want to look stupid. Yes, it changed it to inches. So there we go. That's how you change it if you have any kind of weird measurement system going on. So let's go ahead and bring the shadow down a little bit just so we can see it. And we can change the color of this. So let's leave it black for an let's do a little foreshadowing. Let's do red for this right now. And I'm going to take the opacity up pretty high. So we're going to hit OK here. Looks good to me. Looks great. So let's say we want to do maybe some on some other pieces. So I'm going to grab a couple other photos, and these ones are going to be a different color. But I'm also going to add in a fun effect that I like that adds a little bit of visual interest. Is we're going to go to FX. We're going to do that drop shadow, and I'm going to go from a different angle, right? We're going to go from the bottom left going up. And from here, I'm going to turn on some noise. So I think noise looks really good. So let's add some noise there. And then this one, let's go ahead and change it to this yellow. So hit OK. So if we change this to multiply, if I actually push this further out and it starts to overlap with that red, let's go ahead and change it to blue so we can see the interaction. You'll see that it's interacting with those different pieces because the blending mode is set to multiply. So effects will interact with the multiply. This is full like life touch, like 100%. Okay, so let's go ahead and augment something. And I want to show you how to change all of these effects to be cohesive together. So what we can do is we're going to select everything that has kind of that drop shadow on it. Actually, what we want to do first is let's go ahead and set our lighting. So we are going to go back to this properties panel, and we are going to go to, actually, we're going to go up here. We're going to select one of these. We're going to go to Effects, and then we are going to go to Global Light. Global Light is a really powerful tool. So we're going to go to Global Light, and from here, you can choose the angle. So if you want it to be kind of right up on top, you can do a kind of top-down angle. But I want it to the light coming from the top left, going down to the bottom right.
Nice.
So I'm going to hit OK. And now watch what happens is I'm going to select all of these, right, that have effects on them. Let's go ahead and just select the one so I can see it kind of come together. And we're going to use something called global light. So we're going to come in here and change this drop shadow. And even though they have different properties, I can click on global light and watch what happens. It resets all of them to that angle of the global light. So if we had a bunch of different things with a bunch of different effects, all you need to do is set your global light. So it looks like the kind of offset is a little bit too much on some of these, but that's fine. And now when I come in here and create another drop shadow, all I need to do is turn on that global light, even if it's set to a weird angle, right? I turn on global light and it matches everything else that's happening in the document. So everything else will match, will be cohesive, and will look fantastic with those drop shadows. So it's looking a little crazy right now, but that's fine. Nick, how you doing over there? You following along?
Look at that. I got it all in there, man. We got some global lighting happening. We got a little noise in our drop shadow. You can see there. Sorry for the close-up on these folks. But it's working great, man.
It's working.
I purposely kind of made them all different and then followed along right with you. The global light makes for a great, like, just double check to make sure everything is. Because if you got a page like what you have with a multiple amount of images, all with all the cropping and everything, what a quick way to do it in one click and make sure you got it all in the right angle, right lighting, and you name it.
Absolutely.
I like the noise effect. This is kind of neat because I think we get used to seeing the same kind of generic drop shadows.
Yep.
In a lot of ways.
Nick, let's say this. Let's say, moving on to our next thing. Let's say that your drop shadows over there, you want to make them different colors. How would you go about making those drop shadows different colors?
I'm going to take these two and select. I'm going to go into the drop shadow here, and I'll change this to magenta. How'd I do?
Did great. So, Nick, I actually don't like those colors. Can you change those to a different color?
Sure. What color did you have in mind?
Let's just do any of those other ones.
Anything else here? How about a green?
Green. Great. Okay, cool. So the way that Nick just did it, I wanted to show you because I want you to imagine that you were doing that, but it was on 500 pages. You had 500 pages of a directory and you had to change all of the colors, right? They said, oh, that green isn't the green that we want. We need to change it. Well, thankfully, Andrew's here to show you how to do that faster. Oh, boy.
We need that move as the... There you go.
Wait, here. Somebody make a GIF of this for our Discord.
There you go.
All right. So what we can do is if we want to very quickly make an augmentation to all of those 600 pages, what we can do is use something called global colors. And what's really fun is basically if you go to your swatches, InDesign is cataloging all of the colors that you're using. So here we have a bunch of colors. And let's say that this yellow that we're using is way too bright, right? What I can do is I can actually just make a box over here and find the yellow that I like. So I actually am going to drag this and let's find a little bit more of like an orangey goldenrod.
Gotcha.
So we've got this kind of gold yellow and I'm going to go ahead and just add that as a new swatch. So there we go. It is added as a new swatch. Looks great. And what I want to do is it's currently cataloging all the colors that are being used in this document. What I want to do is everywhere that this yellow is presented, I want to change it to that goldenrod, which is only 2 places. That's fine. So all I need to do is I can actually come in here and I can select that swatch and then delete it, right? And this is where it's a little bit different from other programs. Other programs just delete the swatch and it's not there. InDesign is saying, hey, this swatch is actually being used places. So if I delete it, it's going to say, hey, you're removing the swatch, caution.
Warning.
What do you want to replace it with? What do you want? Like, do you want to do anything? So I can do an unnamed swatch or I can do a defined swatch. And let's do defined swatch. And you can see here that my goldenrod is now in there because of that I've defined it, right? So I'm going to click there and hit OK and watch what happens. Boom. Changed.
Is this one of those workarounds that's like, it's like, there's no other way to do it, but you found this way because deleting it prompts you to make the change universally?
Oh, yes. Yes.
That's great.
100%. Yeah. So I'm just going to make one more example. I'm going to do a little pink here. We are going to delete this red. Oh, this is actually a really cool feature as well. I can click on find this color and it is going to, this is a new feature. It's going to show me everywhere that this color is. So if I go find next, check it out. It is selecting everything that is that color.
Nice.
Just like you can do find text. This is something I remember this releasing and being like, what? So you can search and find any color. So I'm going to show you more with find and replace, but let's go ahead and just delete this swatch. And then it's going to ask us, I want to replace it with this pink. I hit OK, and boom, all of those are replaced with the pink. And now we are very much in the Life Touch, like soft, golden, glorious pastels. So great. Super easy way to change colors with global colors. Let me look at my list and see what else I want to teach you.
Ooh. Let's see.
Ow. That was not as cool as I wanted it to be.
I think we talked a little bit about hotkeys.
Oh yeah, let's talk about some hotkeys. How about that, y'all?
Is that something cool?
Yeah, let's do hotkeys. We got about 20 minutes left. Hotkeys.
Hotkeys.
So
all right. I'm assuming that just means I'm going to take some of my keys on the keyboard and turn them a little hot.
Yep. Get a little lighter and just be like, all right. So here's what we're going to do with hotkeys. So let's say that there's something that I want to do that is maybe there isn't a hotkey for it, right?
Sure.
So let's say that these get put in and I do them manually and they're just all over the place, right? And I'm like, this is a hot mess. So I can select all these and then I can go here. That was not what I wanted to do. I can align the vertical centers. And then we can go here and we'll select these and align the horizontal centers. So we can do all of those different steps, right? And there's no hotkey for doing those. But what I can do is I can create my own custom hotkeys, right? Hotkeys. Thank you. Yes.
Hotkeys.
Hotkeys. I like that.
Even better.
Yep. So the place to create your own hotkeys, I'm going to really confidently say this, is in Type File Preferences. Chat, you're going to need to help me. You're going to need to help me. I've forgotten where it was.
Oh, man. What are we looking? So we're looking for the hotkey?
Yep. How to create your own hotkeys. Data viewed, object, no. Type, layout, no. Edit. Quick apply. Spelling. Someone do a Google real quick. Assign profiles. Keyboard shortcuts. There it is. All right. Knew it was here. All right. So edit down at the bottom behind Nick. Nick, can you point to the corner? It's right by you. The other way? That way? No, back. In right there. So right where Nick is pointing right there, keyboard shortcuts. Thank you. We can make our own keyboard shortcuts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a set so I can make my own set, right? Illustrator shortcuts. Yeah, I can sync it up with Illustrator if you want. And you can download, you can make it so that the shortcuts and the hotkeys are the same as Illustrator or Photoshop if you're more familiar with that, which I think people like complain a lot about that. Like, why are the shortcuts different? Change it. There's literally a button for you to push.
Yeah.
So you can make that super quickly, super easily. But let's say that I want to do something specific. So I'm going to look in here and let's see here. Let's go to the object menu.
All right. What do we got? Anchored object.
Panel menus?
This is great.
Yeah. So we can scroll through here and you see every action that you can do in InDesign is listed right here.
Cool.
Magic. So I'm going to go into object and see if there is like an align.
There's got to be maybe object
layout.
align.
It's got to be in layout.
Let's see. What do we got? I see layout, object export.
Edit, in copy, include. This is going to be just us talking.
I see transform again. Transform. Nope. No. Can you search?
Tools?
No. Let's see.
Tools. Transform. Not transform.
What is our align tool that we are looking for?
I said this is gonna be a hot mess of an episode. I promise. That's exactly what it's gonna be. All right, so let's just do this. Let's do type menu. So let's do type menus, and let's say that I want to insert a special character here. So let's say I'm typing, and I want to do. That's not a good example. I hate that example. Let's do a gradient feather. Why not? So let's say that we want to do some gradients on these photos. So I can go to effects, gradient feather, and here I can do a shortcut. And so I can type in whatever keys I want. So I'm going to hit Control Shift 1.
Perfect. Control Shift 1.
There we go. And I'm going to hit assign. And what that does, so you can also set the context. So that's basically that hotkey only works if you have that thing selected, right? So it can only work in presentation mode. It can only work when you have text selected. Here, default is everywhere. So I'm gonna hit assign.
And you gave it default, right?
Yep.
Probably good to note, hold all three buttons down at the same time to get it to show up in your new shortcut window.
Yep. And I'm making my set so that I don't augment the defaults. I'm just making my own. So I just named my own so that I didn't augment those defaults. So right here, you can see we have the effects, Control Shift 1
Perfect.
is going to be my hotkey right there. So I'm going to hit OK. And now when I select one of these objects, cross your fingers, everybody, Control Shift 1, boom, brings up my feather panel, which is the next thing that I wanted to show you. Look at us go, transitions.
Hey, dude, it worked.
Right? So Control Shift 1, it brought up that feather menu, which is a great way to overlay images here in InDesign. So let's say that we have these images overlaying, and I want to make sure that one is see-through, right? There's not a real easy way to do that in InDesign like you would in Illustrator, right? You'd Photoshop, brush it out, Illustrator maybe a clipping mask, but here what we can do is we can use that hotkey that we just created, Control Shift 1, to create a gradient feather. We also could go over to our effects and go to gradient feather right there. And now you can see that image behind is now showing through. So we can change the angle here, and then maybe we want it to be a little bit darker. You can pull how much is showing through on that gradient, right? Kind of cool. So this is a great way to add some layering, add some dynamicness to your designs. And here's how I would use it almost exclusively, is I would have a page, and this is like the ultimate corporate thing, right? The ultimate corporate thing for me is to make a solid colored background, right? And then we're going to place another image. Let me go ahead and I'm going to Control D to place. And then I'm just going to grab something out of my downloads. I'm sure I have a stock thing here. Let's do, sure. Here's some fitness. So I'm going to do some fitness. We're going to fill that frame proportionally. And then I'm going to like drag this to a place that I think is good. Sure, right there. And now how I'm going to use that gradient feather is, are you ready to be corporate? Control Shift 1. That's the hotkey that I just created. Oh, wow. Look at the corporateness, right? You get like this weird angle from the corner, and then you make it so that it's see-through, but then there's a little bit of your image still showing through. This is the ultimate like corporate thing in my brain.
There it is.
For like, oh, this is the beginning of our training manual. Everything you need to know about our business. So if you've ever wondered how to do that, that's how you do it. Super easy. We also could do something that is a directional feather, and directional feather is going to be on the sides, right? So if we wanted to feather it from the top, we just have to come in here and hit Shift, and I'm just going up, and that is giving us that gradient from the top. This is really good for creating like web banners and stuff. Using the directional feather. We also can add some noise here. We love noise. It just looks really cool. The choke is going to make it so that it is further down or lesser down. And we also can change the angle here, right? So changing the angle, you can see that it's actually pulling in the edges at the angle that I'm selecting right there. So you can see that it's kind of pulling in these interesting edges. You can get some really cool effects using this and really play around in crazy ways. You also could lock them all, which then it doesn't really matter what you're doing here. But
great.
If they're uneven, you can change the angle and it'll create a really cool effect. And yes, someone in our live chat said, make some noise.
Yes. Make some noise. Yeah. And this is great too, because like you said, corporate reports, annuals, things like that, they need this effect over and over again for like laying copy over it. And you see this a lot in like streaming tiles for shows.
Yep.
Where there's like the gradient over it to have space for all the lettering and the typography.
Yep, absolutely. So something that we can do as well that's like a really cool feature. How are you doing over there, Nick? Let's show Nick's screen. Done. Nick's learning InDesign, and so it's funny because I can see him designing along with me, and I'm getting excited that he's learning. But I haven't cut to a screen at all. What have you learned,
what's
Nick?
Cool too is this was exactly the same thing. I had my Command Shift 1 ready to go, and this is a whole new document. Brought in that image, and we got the fade right there immediately, just by doing the same shortcut.
And what's great is, and I wish I would have been able to show you on this stream, you can create hotkeys for anything. So like if you want to insert a bullet that is red, whatever, like you can do all of that, creating and using that hotkey panel very easily. So look in the hotkey panel, anything that you do more than once that doesn't have a hotkey, make a hotkey for it. It's
make
just
a shortcut,
so
baby.
Easy, easy. All right, so Nick, I want to show with an object selected over here, this panel is like semi-new, and it really is becoming a trend across Adobe programs that the properties panel is kind of the place to get things and work with things and make augmentation. So let's go ahead and take a look at the panel over here. So this grid, Nick, do you know what this grid does? I know you probably can't see it very well, but it is like 4 little points, 6 little points with a little thing in the middle.
And we're in the property there, right?
Yep. So top right, what does that little grid do?
I'm assuming it's giving you the preference of where you want the image to be manipulated or transformed?
Yes. So you can set where it is being transformed from. So if I grab the scale tool, right there, you have it scaling from the center, right? It scales down from the center. If I do it from the top left, as I click and drag, it's now going to scale from the top left. So if you ever have an issue or you want to lock something down, oopsies. If you ever have an issue or want to lock something down in place, it's not just a handle, it's designating where it is scaling from, right? So it is kind of our key handle, if you will. We also have fill, stroke, who cares, this is advanced, corner, sure. We could change the corners on this box if we wanted to. We're not going to. Opacity, you guys know what opacity is. I don't need to cover that. But there are some different features here is you can augment the object, the stroke, or the fill. Right now, because it's an image, it will be an object. We can do all of our alignments here. And InDesign has some unique alignments that you can align to the margins or align to the page or align to the spread.
Brett, wow. You got a lot of control there. That's fantastic.
So here is the difference between all of those things. Right now, the margins are pretty much the same, so it's not going to look different. But if I align to the margins, it is going to align to the center of those margins, right? It will do the same thing if I align to the center of the page right now because the margins are the same. But if I go to align to spread, and I hit center, it is going to align it to both of these pages, right? So really easy way to align to both of those pages at the same time. Also, I just want to give a quick shout out and pause. Hello to everyone that came in from Pro Tips. I forgot to say hi from you. Hi to you. Hi from
Welcome,
you.
Pro Tips people.
Pro Tips is a show that happens right before office hours. They go to Discord, have a nice little Q&A, answer some questions, and then they come over to Discord. So if you're from Pro Tips, leave us a purple heart emoji in the chat because we love Pro Tips. They're our new favorite show every other Friday. All right, so if you want to do alignments, you can do that there. You also can turn on text wrapping. We've covered that in the past. All of your frame fitting options are right here. Check that out. So I can auto fit this. Let's see what it does with auto fit here. I'm guessing it's going to keep it pretty much the same. Yeah, it
very
kept
nice.
it the same. So we have autofit, and then we also can do a bunch of these things. We can import files, embed, or find similar images. So we're going to do something really fun. I'm going to click on find similar images, and what it's going to do is it is going to search Adobe Stock. Right?
Okay, yeah, that's kind of crazy right now.
I paused
gosh.
because I was like, everyone's brain's about to explode. Yeah, so Adobe Stock is just like, it's just here. It's just integrated. And this is an Adobe Stock image. And it actually found it. Like, this is that image.
Yeah, it found the same girl. And then it found everything else exactly alike in the library on mine. That's so great.
So if you're using Adobe Stock, that's why I always use Adobe Stock with InDesign because it's so easy. So if I wanted to change over the image that I have,
there it was.
All that I need to do is click right here on this little plus, and it's going to save the preview. And now I have the preview in my library, right? So let's go ahead and go back, find similar images right here. If I wanted to, again, searching Adobe Stock, magic. If I wanted to, I could come in here and I could license it right there and it would save it to my library. I do believe that I can also click and drag it out and then place it into a frame, right? So if I was working here and I had another frame or I was working with kind of multiple images, I could simply click and drag it into these frames. And the power of Adobe Stock is just there. It's just there. Like, it just works. It just happens, right?
That's
so
great.
Full on magic to place things through. And look at Nick. Nick's over here doing it as well.
I love it. This is great.
And something that's interesting, Nick, in yours, can you zoom in on the top right corner of the image? Oh, wait, nope. Sorry, go back. Undo to the image that you placed. There is a little, yep, right there. So go ahead and zoom in with it selected.
Okay. This one here?
Yep. So you can see up in the corner, it has that little icon that basically means that it hasn't been licensed yet.
Gotcha.
I don't know why mine doesn't have that. I might have actually licensed the image that I picked as well. But you can actually click on that and it will license the image for you, take away any watermarks, and then take away that little number on the side.
Gotcha.
Magic, right?
Yeah,
and
this was one of the results that came into the finding similar objects. So it's probably one that I did not license just yet.
Yep. And I wonder if mine is maybe just an Adobe Stock free. That also might,
there you go.
that might be the option.
There you go. You can filter by most recent, popularity, downloads. This is fantastic.
It's magic. So we do have a question from Audra Campbell. Do you have to be connected to Adobe Stock in order to use the photo? I don't think I have Adobe Stock. You do have Adobe Stock.
Yes,
if you have
do.
a Creative Cloud subscription, if you have InDesign, you are using InDesign, Adobe Stock, it's there. And if you want to check if you have Adobe Stock, if you have an Adobe ID and you maybe don't have a full Creative Cloud subscription, let me go ahead and show you something. Nick, what's the link that we should use if we have an Adobe ID, but maybe not a full subscription yet?
Oh, that's a great
a place to maybe get free stock images.
Oh, Adobe Stock free, correct?
That's it. Stock.adobe.com/free. There's a ton of free resources here. Nick, give me a word.
Oh, gosh. Kangaroo.
Kangaroo. So we can type in kangaroo here and boom, these are all free images for me to use for kangaroo. It uses my Adobe ID right up here and I can license those. They are all free with the filter and it's free stock. Free stock.
And notice you can filter from clip art to full color art to video to photo, you name it. It's all there.
My favorite one is images with copy space. So there's a filter for images with copy space.
It's a great
and it will make
idea.
it so that you can have image.
Oh my God. That is the best. See the joy we bring every day?
This little stupid face. Oh, that made my stream. All right. We have about 10 minutes left, so I'm going to show you one more thing. Nick, is there anything else that you would like to learn in InDesign?
Oh my gosh. I don't even know where to go next. Give me a challenge. What should I start to make that you can show me the way?
Let's do this because we haven't talked about it on a stream before. It's a very basic thing. But Nick, let's go ahead and lay out a newspaper page. And this newspaper needs to have 4 columns for us to work with. How are we going to make 4 columns?
Ooh, so I'm going to go to new document. I'm assuming we'll go here. Perfect. So I need 4 columns in this, correct?
Yep.
I'm going to go to layout. Looks like I got margins and columns ready to go. Let's see. I need 4. So I think we're looking pretty good here. Oh, look at this kid go.
Nick just did it. I 100% didn't think that he was going to do it right. So Nick, you actually did it the advanced way. So you did the advanced way that I was going to show, the way that I thought you were going to do.
Did you think I was going to make 4 squares?
I thought you were going to do that, or I thought you were going to do this. I thought you were going to make a new document, and here in the new documents, you can change the amount of columns that you have. And then
there you go, right there.
And Picus. And then you can hit create, and it will change those for you. So here's another thing, Nick.
Perfect.
We want to flow placeholder text into all of these columns. How would you do that to fill all these columns?
Oh, let's see. I'm assuming in my properties, I might have something here. Let's see. Since it is, adjust layout. We got our column. I'm going to go back to the layout and margins and columns, and I bet you there's an option in here. So let's see what we got. There is not. What do we got to do?
Okay, so here's what we want to do. We want to grab the text tool.
We could be here forever, folks.
I was waiting for you to grab the text tool, and it wasn't happening. So we're just gonna go for it. So I'm gonna grab the type tool, and I want to fill all of this area, right? So I'm gonna hit T to grab the type tool, and I'm gonna click and drag that I want this whole area. Right, I'm going to release that, and then I'm going to go to type, and I'm going to fill with placeholder text right here at the bottom. It's going to fill it, and it's going all over the place, right? It's just literally all over the place. So what's great is there is this full panel up here that is augmenting the object that we're playing with. So it depends on what you have selected. So right now I have the selection tool, but if I go to the type tool, I can change my type options or I can change my paragraph options. So I'm going to go to my paragraph options, and from there, I'm right here just going to change my columns. So I'm going to hit up, and it's going to give me 2 columns. I'm going to hit up again, and it's going to give me 3 columns, right? And now it's perfectly fit into that size. But let's say we want a little more extra space. I can go ahead and click here, and it's going to push out the distance between those columns as I lay it out. So I'm going to make sure that they match up perfectly with my columns on the page right there. Looks good. And then we also can span. So if we want it to span 2 columns, then it will actually pull that full text box into 2 columns. So this is really helpful, especially in newspaper. If you have a story that you want maybe 2 columns on one side and then 1 column on the other, is you can have it span, or you can have it split 2 columns. So now it is 6 columns, but 3 columns. So it's 3 split columns to make 6, right? So you can play around with these options to create some really advanced lookouts. And this is how I would do it if I was laying out this document that we were creating here with names. I would create columns and I would just have it span and create those pieces, right? So, and I love this. A lot of people are saying that their minds are being blown. Yes, this is literally 1 text box. You can see the frame there. It is only 1 text box, and I could have it so that it spans the sides. You can see I lost the option here because I need to have my type tool selected. And so we can go up here, we can span 2 sides there because maybe we want an image over here. Super easy and super quick ways to create columns. How'd you do over there, Nick?
I got lost because we built our big one.
Nick, you were missing a panel, toolbar. So here's why you were missing that toolbar is let's go ahead and go up to Window. Yes. And let's go to Workspace and then go to Essentials Classic. So if you were seeing different things, I should have done this at the beginning of the episode. Go to Essentials Classic and then just reset Essentials Classic. If you want to, you can create your own workspace by going to Workspace, and whatever you have open, you just click on New Workspace and then you can name it. So if you have certain panels that you like open, do all of your stuff, have it how you want it, and then save it as your own workspace. So Nick.
Perfect. So we have type selected. Yep. We have the type tool selected.
Yep.
And then we go to
the paragraph. So over on the left, there are 2 tabs. One's an A and one's a paragraph. Far left, far top left. Nope, that's the right. Other side. On the left, all the way to the side. No, all the way. Keep going. All the way, all the way, all the way. A little bit more. Right there. So hit the paragraph, and there we go.
All right. So
and now you can go and change the columns right to the right of where you are.
Right here. Oh,
we did
I'm going to go work at a newspaper now. Look at that.
You did it, Peter. You're using your imagination. Magic. All right.
Look at that.
So we did it.
That was so real.
That was pretty much all that we have to show you for InDesign. There were a couple requests of doing workspaces, some overflow text. We'll show you those in future episodes. We are going to take a little bit of a break from doing hands-on program tutorials. Y'all have loved doing the hands-on stuff for the advanced things, but we're just going to flip it up a little bit. So we're going to give you some advice, give you some of our insight, because we haven't been able to share that in a while. So we're both.
What are you guys looking forward to? What are some of the topics we can hit when it comes to back to school or just back to the grind, whatever it is? This is that time where everyone's kind of like going back and summer's over.
Yep. Yeah. So let us know in chat. And if you're watching the replay, drop in the comments what you want us to cover. We do have coming up off the top of my mind, we have some back to school content. We're going to be helping out Etsy sellers. We're going to show you how to set up an Etsy shop. And then we may even be helping out some small businesses with some branding. So there's a lot coming on the way. If you want to learn something, drop it in the comments. And Nick, we have 2 announcements to make before we end the show. We have 3. Make as many announcements as we want.
Yeah, because I think
we should. Nick.
Yeah, don't forget, go over to Adobe Live channel in YouTube and subscribe there. That way you can be totally on top of all of the live content, including yours truly, us here at Office Hours. We also have a great watch party coming up, correct?
Yep. Sorry, I was aggressively smashing that sub button.
Oh, there you go.
So yes, we also have a watch party coming up. You can go to discord.gg/ACC. It will bring you to this page right here. All you need to do is scroll up to the events right here, and you can see Lord of the Rings right there. You can be interested, and it will give you the link to that event. It is starting in 36 minutes, but we're going to be hanging out in there if you want to go join right now. Like at the end of this episode, we'll be heading over there. So let's all go raid, and then we can hang out and watch Lord of the Rings together. I do believe you need to have Amazon Prime to join the watch party. So just a disclaimer. Someone in the live chat is saying how to plan social media and workflow. Love that. And I actually have something that I'm programming just for you. We have a social media boot camp coming up. Speaking of boot camps, Nick, that was such a good segue. That was such a good segue. So social media boot camp is coming up. And Nick, speaking of other boot camps, what else can we look forward to next week?
Next week is my packaging boot camp. Be sure to join us there. We're going to go over 4 fun-filled days. It's a crash course. I'm not kidding. It's going to be so fast paced. Can't wait to do that as well.
Yep,
So
it's
it
going to
should
be a great
fun.
time. So that is coming up next week. And Nick, office hours season finale for Creative Basics. Thanks for joining us, y'all. This has been really fun. Hopefully you've learned something. In the chat, I'm going to leave it open for a couple minutes. In the chat, let us know what you've learned over this year. We've spent 9 months together learning things from 101 to 201 to 301. Let us know something that you learned in chat. If you're watching on YouTube, let us know something that you learned down in the comments.
Oh, that would be great.
And make sure you look forward to next week as we go back to school, giving you the top 5 class hacks. So I'm going to leave the chat open, and I need all of you to go to Discord and join us for the Lord of the Rings watch party. And we'll see you next week for another episode of Office Hours. Nick, what's our advice going into next week?
Oh, and don't forget, follow Adobe Live on Instagram. That's where everything's being done and telling you what's happening in the week ahead. You're moving to a new channel, you need a directory.
Yeah,
that's your one.
Sure.
Right? That's a good one.
We can talk about that on stream. That's a thing. All right. Well, good luck, everybody. We almost got through. Bye.